Welcome back to Eye on Iowa. I'm Sarah Mueller, a reporter with Forbes, and today I am joined by Iowa Senator Joni Ernst. It is the morning of the Iowa caucuses. Very exciting here. Tell me what you're seeing on the campaign trail right now. There's so many events happening and so many Iowans turning out.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks so much. And yes, welcome to the Iowa caucuses where the temperatures are below freezing, but these candidates are on fire. So lots of campaign events, and it is the final stretch. So they will be out connecting with as many voters as possible today. A lot of folks have made up their minds. They know who they're going to go caucus for, but there are still a handful of undecided voters. So they'll try and reach those voters, encourage them to get out tonight. In spite of the weather, I still think Iowans are going to turn out because there are no snow days when it comes to caucuses.
You're absolutely right. I saw you yesterday at a Nikki Haley event in Ames. I saw you wearing your Iowa State gear, and you were gearing the crowd up for Nikki Haley. So I just have to know, do you think that she can kind of go the distance against Trump, given that there's such a deficit in the polls right now?
Well, I think she is an exciting candidate. I am neutral, of course, but want to welcome all of these great candidates into the state. So I was able to go out and cheer on Nikki Haley. And then in the evening, I went out and cheered on Ron DeSantis. We've got a lot going on, but across the board, whether it's the former president, whether it's all of these exciting new candidates that are out on the Iowa stage right now, they all bring so many talents and abilities into the Republican Party. Any one of them would be an exceptional president, much better than what we see with President Joe Biden.
Tell me a little bit about what you want to see from the GOP candidate, whoever it may be, to help lead the GOP into the presidency in the next term.
There are so many things that I want to see from that potential nominee. And first and foremost is to pay attention to the American voters. Right here in Iowa, we are feeling the pressure of Bidenomics. I look around my community in Montgomery County, which is a very rural community, and how the pressures of day-to-day living, the finances, the cost of inflation and everyday goods and services has gone through the roof under this president because of his economical policy or lack thereof. So that's first and foremost. Will that nominee get us back on track? Stop spending taxpayer dollars needlessly. Number two, securing our nation. And that means really paying attention to the southern border and stopping the flow of illegal migrants into the country. And number three is making sure, as part of that national security package, is that not only are we watching the borders of our own nation, but that we are helping friends and allies push back against our adversaries globally.
We all know that moderates, independents are a key to this next election. We might see another Trump-Biden face-off as we did in 2020. What do you think the GOP needs to do to appeal to those moderate voters?
It is listening to those voters, paying attention to the issues that matter. Again, the same issues that I just outlined: economy, the southern border, and national security as a whole, both at home and abroad. Who will show that they can make the difference? And if you look at President Joe Biden's numbers right now, all-time low at approval rating of 33%. I have Democrats here in Iowa, people that have engaged in Democrat politics for a long time. They're asking questions about the Republican candidates. That will tell you something. They are gravitating to the right because they cannot stand the policies of the left. And as one Democratic voter asked me yesterday, as we were talking about different candidates, he did ask me about the Republican process in the primary. And I asked him, why are you considering a Republican candidate? And he said, President Joe Biden is too old.
Age has been a huge question in this election as well, as you mentioned. Obviously, there is a wide spectrum of ages from Vivek all the way to Donald Trump, Asa Hutchinson. And so, what do you think? What are you hearing, I guess, more on the campaign trail as you're listening to voters about the need to have a conversation around age when it comes to the presidential office?
Yeah, I do hear that a lot, and I don't think it's necessarily age as an actual number, but their fitness and their ability to lead. And we see that lacking in President Joe Biden. Things just don't seem to connect all the time. And we just saw this example with Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin going into the hospital. Joe Biden didn't even know he was in the hospital. So there is no communication going on between our number one man at the DOD and the president of the United States when we see conflict all around the globe. That is really, really concerning to me. It's concerning to a lot of Americans as well. So ability does play into that age factor.
Now, I've got to ask before I switch to some budget questions. Do you know who you're going to be caucusing for tonight?
I do. But again, I'm not going to announce that publicly. I will caucus with my friends and neighbors in Montgomery County tonight. But again, just allowing all of our great Iowa voters to make up their own minds and then, show the rest of the United States who they believe will be the best leader in our next general election.
Now, switching over to budget, we have seen a House majority with Republicans in control, and there's kind of this can kicking down the road activity happening with this budget. What do you think needs to happen in order to kind of finally hit a resolution with the budget?
Well, I think it's incredibly important that we are able to do our work in Congress. We are the ones that hold the pocketbook for the nation. What we have seen in the Senate, all 12 of our appropriations bills have passed individually out of the Appropriations Committee with both Republicans and Democrats supporting it. Yet Chuck Schumer, who is the Democratic majority leader in the Senate, does not bring those bills forward. So the problem is we have leadership right now in Congress that doesn't want to bring bills forward where we can have open debate on those various appropriations bills. Let us do our job, Chuck Schumer. So yes, we're going to end up kicking the can down the road. Yet once again, this is not good for our country as a whole. It hurts us if we shut down the government. It actually costs us more taxpayer dollars when we shut down the government, trying to catch up after a government shutdown. So let's just do the right thing. Let's move these appropriations bills and have the appropriate level of discussion and debate. Our citizens, they expect that. We should do it.
Well, I know you've got a massive list of events to get to, and you better bundle up and head out. Thank you so much for your time, Senator.
You bet. Thanks for coming out in the cold. I appreciate it.